Rassurez-vous, les horaires que vous voyez en bas, 10h20, ne devraient pas rester en ligne plus de 1 heure. Après, on verra bien l'état de la connexion. Since we are live, 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 since we are live,
Draw, my uncle was, and I kept my room straight.
since we are live,
Draw, my uncle was, and I kept my room straight.
since we are live,
Draw, my uncle was, and I kept my room straight.
since we are live,
Hello and welcome to the heart of the European Space Operations Center, ESOC, in Darmstadt, Germany. It is a special day today for space exploration, a very special day for an amazingly bold and popular space mission that captured the hearts and minds of people around the world. Today, on September the 30th in 2016, the European Space Agency's comet-chasing Rosetta mission is coming to an end. The orbiter itself will land on the surface Germany. Of the comet, and that will be in about day today from now. Space exploration, the end of a mission that lasted 4,595 days in space, a mission full of superlatives and full of science around the world. And I'm Monica Jones, today, and I'm happy to guide you through the program of the day, which is broadcast live on ESA TV and also streamed live on the World Wide Web. And I believe that a lot of people not far from here in a jam-packed conference room are watching this broadcast as well. Space also representation that is not far away from here, with loads of media representatives following this. There are young people following this event as far away as Guadalajara in Mexico, which is broadcasted live. Space community currently attending the International Live Astronautical Congress there, and I believe it's early in the morning there. It is 6 a.m. but there is conference joining us today. A very warm hello also ESA Director General Jan Lerner. He's joining us on Skype together with Roberto Battistone, the President of the Italian Space Agency, ASI, Jean-Yves Le Gall, the President of the French Space Agency, CNES, and Pascal Ehrenfeld, the Chair, woman of the board at the German Space Agency, DLR. Good morning to all of you. Good morning there. It is 6 a.m. but there is conference joining us today. A very warm hello also ESA Director General Jan Lerner. He's joining us on Skype together with Roberto Battistone, the President of the Italian Space Agency, ASI, Jean-Yves Le Gall, the President of the French Space Agency, CNES, and Pascal Ehrenfeld, the Chair, woman of the board at the German Space Agency, DLR. Good morning to all of you. Good morning there. It is 6 a.m.
very happy that we can have
joining us
very
today.
important
Very warm hello also ESA Director General Jan Lerner. He's joining us on Skype together with Roberto Battistone, the President of the Italian Space Agency, ASI, Jean-Yves Le Gall, the President of the French Space Agency, CNES, and Pascal Ehrenfeld, the Chair, woman of the board at the German Space Agency, DLR. Good morning to all of you. Good morning there. It is 6 a.m.
first heard about this. It's really a perfect thing for all and together. Even after the hibernation of their deadline feelings. Then 7 great 8 days, days, the environment was then comet coming closer and closer to the sun. Fantastic science, very cool chemistry, information about the solar system, heard about this. It's really perfect. Some answers was usually assigned to science, doing all questions, reliable technology, I know there's a spin-off effect, and separate data used on Earth themselves, there is also a harness as well connected with either very successful operations to overcome challenges. It is always happening such a mission, in this case, with big risks, even small. So I can say, to use this modern Earth investment is science doing missions in a very broad sense, not only in short term number punching of Europe. So therefore, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, VIVEZ. But also, thank you, ESA member states and partners, for your courage to really launch this mission with a big amount of money and with a long period of time, well beyond their own use time to witness. So that is really something we need also in the future for big projects. But also, thanks to all the people, men and women, who were dedicated to this excellent and still exciting mission. So thank you very much. And now we are going just to a small step to this mission, but it's a really giant leap for Rosetta to go down on Churyumov-Gerasimenko.
What you see on the screen is delayed 30 seconds, so so don't worry. Pascal, go ahead. It's your turn. You will see yourself later. You can speak. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning from Guadalajara. The European Rosetta mission has delivered really exciting new insights into the origin of our solar system by investigating one of the most ancient and authentic celestial bodies. And among the many new findings, we have measured for the first time organic molecules on a cometary surface. The German Aerospace Center has significantly contributed to the construction of the lander Philae, and it has also operated the lander control center. And Rosetta and Philae have really shown us how we can expand our horizons through space research, and also how to make the public a part of what we do. So we have to say farewell to the Philae spacecraft and of course, to the Rosetta spacecraft today. But as we have seen, the mission is not over, and we have really measured an incredible challenge, technically and operationally. Thank you to all the teams, and best greetings from Guadalajara.
Thank you, Pascal. Hand over to Dernier. Again, there will be a delay of 30 seconds. Don't worry, everything works fine. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning. I should say that we are very fortunate to participate in this event. I was in French Guiana in Kourou on the 2nd of March 2004 when with Ariane 5 we launched Rosetta, and 4,590 days later, now it's going to be the end of the life of Rosetta. But it is not at all the end of the story, because Rosetta got an incredible volume of data, and the scientists now have many years of work in front of them. So it is definitely a huge success of Europe, and the fact that all the stakeholders of European space, Jan Werner, Pascal Ehrenfreund, Roberto Battiston, myself, and some other ones are here. It's a clear demonstration that when Europe is united, Europe wins. This is the first point. The second point, we have in route to an asteroid mascot, which is something as a child of Philae, and the story is continuing. And I want to say congratulations to all the teams who made this success possible. The world, the space world is looking at you, because we are here in Guadalajara, where 5,217 delegates of the ISC are looking for you. And since we are in Guadalajara, hasta la vista, Rosetta. And
Thank you very much, Jaime. And then over to Roberto Battiston. Go ahead, Roberto.
All the teams who made this success possible.
Good morning to everybody. Good afternoon to the others. Rosetta and Philae, it has attracted the attention of hundreds of millions of people all over the world, because it's a mission of courage. It's the courage of the scientists, it's the courage of Europe, which put together the effort to go to this minuscule part of our solar system, but it's also the courage of the robotic activities which have to perform on surface and around the comet. This is the Europe at the best. The Europe we like, the Europe of science, technology, progress. It has attracted the attention of hundreds of millions of people all over this mission, because it's a mission of courage. It's the courage of the scientists, the courage of Europe, truly becoming part of our universe. This mission is leading us with a lot of answers, but many more questions. This is science at the best, and we are really looking forward for continuation of the mission, exploring our incredible solar system, the universe. Now we have in this minuscule comet a lot of technology coming from Italy, the ODYSSÉE, the cameras which are on board of Rosetta, together with the driller and the other system which are on board of Philae. The two together will be a testimony forever about science, technology, and most important, international collaboration in science. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto. We hand over to Ezok again, and invite my guests to get back to their seats, and we keep watching ESA television production. introduction. Thank you, and then we will have live from now
in Darmstadt, Germany. Thank you again to everyone there in Mexico. So, a lot is happening today. We say hasta la vista and arrivederci and goodbye to a wonderful mission. It's going to be a big moment for everyone. You can feel the tension here already in the room. But let's remember two important things. For one, Rosetta carries a metal plate on board with a message in 1,000 languages, hopefully to be found and deciphered by alien missions in the future, just like the Rosetta Stone was deciphered here in Mexico. And of course, today the mission comes full circle, and as we get closer to the comet, we can gather even more data, so more highlights in a mission full of highlights. We'll talk about that with Rosetta scientists later on. We'll also get some close-up images shot en route as the spacecraft descends towards the comet. Now, the touchdown happens as we speak, some 718 million kilometers out in space. You've already noticed there was a time delay between Darmstadt and Guadalajara. Well, the time delay between Earth and 718 million kilometers in space is even bigger. 40 minutes in exact. The signal from the spacecraft down to Earth takes 40 minutes at the speed of light. So let's stick with Earth time and actually show you a bit around to show you what happens here. Because here in the main control room where we are right now, of course, we're surrounded by great flight operation experts, and they watch these large screens over there. They show the health of status of ESA's ground stations. Some show the data downlink of the Rosetta instrument, and we'll touch on that later as well. And one screen, that's the one in the middle, that shows us the downlink from the spacecraft. And that, of course, that chart will become a crucial indicator for us today. We'll keep an eye on that spike for sure. And I know that the gentlemen that I've reached now here at the Flight Director's desk, they will certainly keep an eye on that spike over there. We can see here Andrea Accumazzo, the Rosetta Flight Director. We see Patrick Martin, the Mission Manager, and we see Sylvain Laudiot, the Rosetta Spacecraft Operation Manager, in the middle between them. And down here as well, we see Paolo Ferri, the Head of Mission Operations Department. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Andrea Accumazzo, tell me, last night you performed the final maneuver and directed the spacecraft from orbiting around the comet to actually go on a colliding course straight towards the comet. Did all of that work out?
Yes, right, that's correct. What we did last night was to do a maneuver to cancel the orbital velocity of Rosetta and direct it towards the comet. Now we are flying towards the comet. We have a most up-to-date estimate of the landing time is 11:19:11, and we are roughly 40 meters away from the target point. This is an excellent performance of the maneuver.
Okay, well, we're used to excellent performances from Rosetta so far. Sylvain Laudiot, now since then, was there anything that you could have changed or change in terms of course or setting?
Good afternoon. So we did some changes a few hours ago. We optimized the pointing of the spacecraft on the way down for the last hour, and we also improved the VIVEZ command to better fit the expected impact time. Now it's too late. Impact is happening in 3 minutes.
Okay, and you're just standing here and you watch. But of course, in the meantime, because we spoke of that time delay, Patrick Martin, Rosetta now in the final hours of the flight, busy as a bee. What do you receive right now from Rosetta?
The final descent is going well so far. We are in the last few minutes, and we are in full science mode actually. Downlink of the science is going on right now with full priority to science.
Okay,
and
you're just
stay tuned for the confirmation of the end of mission.
All right, and just briefly, Sylvain, how fast is Rosetta approaching the comet? Rosetta now in the
We're landing at 90 centimeters per second, and we're close to that speed right now.
Okay, 90 meters per second, that's about 3 kilometers an hour?
Centimeter per second, so it's half the speed of normal walking speed.
Very slow indeed. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Of course, we'll catch up with you later again. In the meantime, I'm walking very slowly so that the cameraman doesn't fall and stumble over the cable here. And of course, the spacecraft is approaching the comet at snail's pace, and it is busy. It is making scientific measurements, and it's taking pictures, images. And that is, of course, something we're very interested in, which is why we now cross over to a room where people, two teams are actually sitting, two science teams are sitting in order to take sort of the final measurements. And we cross over now to Holger Sirks. He is the principal principal investigator of the ODYSSÉE camera that brought us all the wonderful images we've seen so far of the comet's surface in Koma. Holger, what's the latest? What can you share with us now?
Scientific measurements and taking pictures, images.
So the images
and
are coming down like a shark. So let me show you what we are aiming for. So the green and the red dot, this is a 2014 image, don't wonder about the quality. As are the pits, we are aiming for the landing spot is the blue one. So we're getting closer, and we were excited with the first image already coming down at 4 o'clock this night. This was the first image of the descent, taken at 16 kilometers with our narrow-angle camera. To give you a little context, this is the NAC view, so you certainly see this area here at the hard-to-hit depression. This is what we are aiming for in these shots. So we are 15 kilometers, we're getting closer. This is an amazing view of the local terrain at good 8 kilometers altitude at close to 7 o'clock this morning. 16 kilometers with our going a step ahead, ever closer, good 5.6 kilometers, 8 o'clock when you want to see the first view. This is now we are aiming the blue dot in this. We will land here. We just learned from flight dynamics. It's really there. So expect really great stuff coming down. The pits were also in our view. Just this is the pit D. So we are looking already into this depression, and so from 5 kilometers, a lot details of the walls that we are after. And the last image I want to show is this. This is the detail of our pit D in high resolution from 2,500 meters distance. So it's really great, it's exciting, it's working on down.
Future home of Rosetta. Holger, just very, very briefly, after such a successful mission, why do we end it like this?
Well, it's all about science. So we want to see these images of the sidewalls because they give us clues about the origin we are after. So that's why we do it, and that's why we get closer ever to exactly this spot D that was decided by high resolutions from.
All right, Holger Zirks, thank you so much for now. Of course, we look forward to many more pictures that you will show us in the course of this event. We'll get back to you. But in the meantime, I'm back here with Andrea Akumazzo, the flight director, who's just moved with me from one position in the main control room to another. And of course, Andrea, this was quite a ride, the Rosetta mission, and there is an iconic picture of you that went all around the world. That was when Rosetta was woken up. Thank you so much after 3 years of hibernation, and that event was already more than 2 years ago. It was an event, a mission full of challenges that you and your team had to face. I mean, just moved with me from one position.
Definitely, if you think about the Rosetta mission, it was conceived in the middle of the 80s, when we knew very little about it. We embarked on a trip 10 years long in the solar system. We had to fly by planets to gain velocity to reach this comet with the right velocity. We flew by asteroids. We had to hibernate the spacecraft because we were flying so far away from the sun. Already the trip there was an adventure and a masterpiece of technology and engineering from all sides. All this for science.
All this for science, and you're a flight operator. But what was the biggest problem? I mean, was it the fact that it was so far away, the distance, or the complexity of the hardware?
Well, during the design of the mission, I would say the distance reached Rosetta with the right, definitely. We were close to the sun, far away from the sun, so different environments. The operation of the comet was the second big challenge. It was much more challenging than anything else. Nobody had ever done anything like this. All this for science there on the front end.
All this for science. And have you learned anything from it? Has Ops learned a lot from that mission?
Well, we have done something, as I said, nobody had ever done. We are the only ones now capable of doing something like this. And this is an achievement not only for ESA, but for mankind. We came to the sun far away, and this is what we have to continue doing in the coming years. We have to go the next step. We have to go for sample return missions. We want to protect our planet from asteroids. Then this is what we have to be able to do.
After all the sleepless nights, I remember some sleepless nights with various events that we did together, and all those challenges. Would you do it again?
As I said, absolutely, yes, no doubt. No doubt.
Okay.
Most fantastic mission ever.
Indeed, Andrea Akumazzo, and you were part of this fantastic mission, still are flight director of Rosetta. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And of course, yes, we all remember, of course, what an adventurous mission Rosetta was in all these years, and still for a few minutes. Let's take a look at some of the milestones. Would you do it again?
As I said, absolutely, yes, no doubt.
Rosetta's journey began 12 years ago. And for the scientists behind the mission, it was even earlier. It took over 6 billion kilometers to get to the comet, using a gravitational kick from Mars and 3 planetary assists from Earth, circling the Sun almost 4 times.
Yes, it still is.
Rosetta studied asteroids Steins and Natisha along the way, monitored by ESTRAC ground stations around the world. Rosetta's journey began 12 The spacecraft was put into hibernation in June 2011, spinning once every 60 seconds so that the solar panels could receive as much sunlight as possible. The alarm was set to wake up Rosetta on January the 20th, 2014. Within 6 weeks of the wake-up signal, all of Rosetta's 21 instruments have been activated, 11 on the orbiter, 10 on the lander. In May 2014, Rosetta put on the brakes and, together with a series of thruster burns, reduced the relative speed between the comet and the spacecraft to just 1 meter per second, and its separation from around 20 million kilometers at just 100 kilometers. The unusual shape of the comet became clear. Rosetta arrived at the comet on August the 6th, 2014, and shortly afterwards became the first spacecraft to orbit a comet. After a landing site was decided on the head of the duck-shaped comet, Rosetta released its Philae lander. The 7-hour descent made history, as did the multiple bounces across the comet's surface. The first mission to make a controlled landing on a comet sent back its first spectacular images of the surface. After returning its science data, the lander's prime mission was over, and it went into hibernation. Despite brief communications over the summer of 2015, its position was unknown until just a few weeks before the end of the mission. Rosetta's primary objective has always been to examine and monitor a comet and to see how it changes as it nears the Sun. And on the exact moment of perihelion, its closest approach to the Sun, Rosetta was watching. Rosetta is now heading out into the colder reaches of our solar system alongside the comet. Today's controlled descent onto the comet's surface is yet another first for the boldest cometary mission in history. Rosetta's cometary science has always been our understanding of the universe and to see how it changes as it nears the Sun.
And it's all about the science. We've heard that several times in the course of this mission. That's why with me now is Matt Taylor, Rosetta's project scientist at ESA, who overlooks a vast amount of science that was made and still is being made with the Rosetta mission. Matt, if you could pick of all the data that you and your team received, what was the most surprising finding?
That's a tough one to pick. What we've been doing in the last couple of years, I think one of the big surprises was the shape of our duck. We've seen comets like that before, but this duck was striking. It was formed by 2 smaller comets colliding at low velocity. We then started to look deeper into it, this dark object covered in dust, full of organics. The implications are all over the place. The fact that we found water there, but it wasn't the same as Earth. But fundamentally important, going back to the organics again, this stuff could have been delivered by comets to the Earth and formed the ingredients for life and how that started.
And because science is always a bit scientific, sometimes too scientific for some people who follow it and are so interested in the Rosetta mission, we prepared a little video in order to just summarize some of the key findings. Then we talk again.
That's a tough one to pick.
Rosetta's instruments, 11 on the orbiter, 10 on the lander, have transformed our understanding of cometary science. They've sniffed gases, collected particles, examined the comet across the electromagnetic spectrum, seen how it interacted with the solar wind, and scrutinized the comet's activity, tails and coma, as it approached and moved away from the Sun, an unprecedented achievement. We had considered comets as dirty snowballs, covered in patches of ice, but Rosetta has meant we've had to rethink this picture due to a lack of strong evidence for ice on the comet's surface. Instead, the ice is buried, covered by a layer of dust. This dust layer means that the comet is very dark, reflecting only a small fraction of the light that falls on it. The VIVEZ instrument, a visible and infrared spectrometer, revealed how water is transported from within the comet to its surface past sublimation, where water changes from ice to a gas without a liquid phase. This process provides a frost layer which is replenished each comet rotation. The ODYSSÉE camera and VIVEZ have also found more persistent ice deposits on the surface in regions near cliff-like structures. It may look rocky, but the comet is so light and porous it could float on water, with surface temperatures falling below -100°C. Gases streaming from the comet include hydrogen sulfide and methane, and there are pits containing walls hundreds of meters high.
In patches of ice.
These walls revealed layers that helped scientists determine the comet was formed by a slow collision between two smaller comets.
Instead,
it has no magnetic field, and gases detected include molecular oxygen, hydrogen sulfide, and for the first time found on a comet, argon.
The comet is very dark.
The two Rosetta mass spectrometers revealed that comets like 67P may not have been a dominant source of water for our planet in the early solar system, because its water has a different isotopic ratio. But organic molecules discovered at comet 67P, such as the amino acid glycine, tell us that comets could have played a role in the emergence of life on Earth.
The ODYSSÉE camera
and that is indeed exciting. Matt Taylor, Rosetta's project scientist at ESA. What does all this mean? Has any of the data really changed our understanding of how the solar system came about?
Yeah, Rosetta's blown it all open. It's made us have to change our ideas of what comets are, where they came from, and the implications of how the solar system formed and how we got to where we are today. And we've only, like Philae, just scratched the surface. And it's important to note, Rosetta mission is both the lander and the orbiter. Together, they have made it possible to do the science, to make the breakthroughs that we have. And we have only just scratched the surface. We have decades of work to do on this data, so the spacecraft may end, but the science will continue. That's what we're here. That's what we're here for. That's what this mission is for.
And that's a beautiful message, especially on a day like today.
It's a sad day.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of both. There's always two sides to every coin. Taylor, thank you so much. And by the way, just to give you an idea about the huge harvest of science that Rosetta has delivered there, Rosetta has triggered a total of 672 science papers since the launch, just 119 this year alone, with another 50 in the pipeline. So, as we just heard from Matt Taylor, it's just beginning, the science part of it. And talking of science, it's time to go back to Holger Sirk's Taylor processing the images that the spacecraft is taking during the descent. Rosetta is about 30 minutes away from touchdown right now. So, Holger, I'm sure you've got some new and amazing pictures for us.
Well, it's a bit hectic here these minutes. So we are at a good 2 kilometers altitude now. So what we prepared is a view by the wide-angle camera. So a wide-angle shot of this landing area. The pit D over here, the pit E over there. Landing will happen there in the upper right. So that's a cool overview. So we focus right now on the main part of pit D and zooming in with our telecamera. So this is what we see. So the side walls of this pit already. So with the structures, thermally processed, goosebumps, whatsoever. So we will work on these images for the next year. So we get great detail down of the whole area as expected. So imagine we are more than 700 million kilometers away. We have to compress those images to the utmost, so 1/20, so they are not as crisp anymore as we are used to have them. But it's great detail and good science to be expected from them.
Of science that Rosetta has delivered so much for this, and obviously we won't let you go before all this is over today. We'll come back to you later again. But I would like to turn now to the other team that's sharing the room with you, and there we should very soon see Katrin Altweg. She is the principal investigator of the Prochain instrument, and that is receiving data from Rosetta right now as we speak. I mean, 7 instruments on board of Rosetta. Of those 11 are still working, very, very busy. And if we remember, the Rosetta instrument brought a breakthrough in science in deciphering the chemical composition of the comet. Katrin Altweg is from the University in Bern, and hopefully she can hear me now, and hopefully she can tell us a bit and comment a bit on the kind of data that she receives from Rosetta.
Over there. Landing will happen there in the upper
Still
right.
two of the Rosetta sensors on. That's the mass spectrometer DFMS, and it's also the COPS sensor with two gauges, the loop gauge and the RAM gauge. What you see here is the pressure. So it's the density in the atmosphere of the comet, and it rises and rises since this morning. We are still at not very high pressures. I expect it to rise by another factor 2 before we land. From these curves, we will really get
imagine we are more than 700 million
cut through the
away.
whole atmosphere of the comet. We will understand how dust is accelerated. We will see all the regions which were postulated by the modelers and then constrain their models with these last measurements, and I think it's a unique opportunity to do that.
Wow, Katrin Altweg, thank you so much. Unique opportunity indeed. Actually, let's sum this up. I mean, this part of the mission, the fact that Rosetta is landing on the comet, was never really planned. That was never envisaged in the first place. It was a decision by the scientists in the end, wanting to make the best use of those wonderful instruments on board, instruments like the Ceres camera or Rosina, as the Rosetta spacecraft gets so close to the comet, something, a risk that one could not have taken earlier. And so this is wonderful, and we see, of course, in the course of this broadcast, also the images and the results of all the data that we receive from the spacecraft in those last minutes. Actually, we have, talking of minutes, we have about 27 minutes to go until we get the signal that Rosetta touched down. And I think this is a good moment to revisit another major highlight in this mission, and that, of course, was the landing of Little Philae in November 2014. And it was a short-lived, but a very, very, very successful.
Je vais arrêter ce direct pour faire le live sur Stellarium, mais je reviens dans quelques secondes.
It wasn't all plain sailing. The harpoons didn't fire on landing, and as Philae wasn't anchored, it bounced across the surface of the comet. When the lander finally came to rest, its position meant Philae couldn't drill into the soil to collect samples for the different instruments. Instead, they went into sniffing mode, analysing the gases surrounding the comet and from scattered dust grains. But Philae